Wait, hold on. Is he defending the idea that there's a squad that needs to take care of people that have, like, wronged cops? What is this argument? Wait, what have I walked into? What's going on? I'm so confused. Oh, looks like we got some familiar faces on this one. I hate panels, okay? So just FYI. If I'm a dick, it's because I don't like panels. It's not because anything else, just that I don't like panels. But hey, you know what? PrimeCayes, big grower. Maybe not a shower, because his panels are cringe, but alright, whatever. We don't need this to be super huge, huh? Actually, I don't give two fucks about Destiny at all. Why do we need to see him playing Minecraft? Let's just crop you out. We know who you are. We don't need to see you. You're fine. The panel was pretty okay. Lots of trying to understand and interesting opinions. I like how CNN panels always have an obligatory right-wing idiot, and Twitch panels have followed their lead. That's kind of fucked, dude. It's kind of fucked. We are. Let's get started. Let's jump into it. What's going on here?
You let these guys, no, listen. You let these guys call the Goon Squad on people. You let your buddies call the Goon Squad on people because you felt like they thought that they deserved to get kicked. And I'm sure you didn't report this to your supervisors because otherwise the Goon Squad wouldn't be happening. Right? If you're aware of it, you let it happen. You care so much.
You didn't even listen to the fucking story. Half the time the Goon Squad is warranted. You didn't even listen to the fucking story.
Should I join?
Just meaning.
No, I'm not meaning. This is exactly what you say. So I know cops who call the Goon Squad. I know cops who slam people's faces against the fucking car.
Do you think a Goon Squad is sometimes necessary?
If you're aware of this,
do you think a Goon Squad is sometimes necessary?
Listen, if you're aware of this, do something about it, right? So if you want to say, hey,
that's not an argument. His personal involvement.
I'm not done speaking.
That's relevant.
No, please. If you're going to present, oh my God, if you're going to present your personal anecdotes as evidence, it's why police brutality is an issue. And then your personal anecdotes is, hey, police brutality exists because I brutalize people. My friends brutalize people, and I let it happen.
Does it come way later? The Goon Squad refers to Doobie's guy's Twitch chat, by the way. What? I thought it meant police. I thought it meant you and your Goon Squad, you and all your police friends, just go and beat up a bunch of black people, and then you can't report it. I thought that's what he's talking about. If he's talking about somebody's chat, who gives two fucks, dude? Who gives two fucks? It absolutely means cops. Oh, okay. Then why is he talking about Twitch chat?
Happen. Well, shit, that sounds like an issue.
That sounds like an issue.
Because you personally felt like this person deserved to have their ass kicked. You let it happen.
You stupid fuck.
But you let it happen. You just said they fucking deserved it, right? And because you felt like they deserved it, you, the police officer, felt like this person deserved to get their ass kicked. You let it happen. That's disgusting.
Doobie, can I ask you a question?
Wow, that was like okay, I'll let somebody else talk, but that was some of the worst fucking straw manning I've ever had in a fucking debate. You are full of shit. Fuck you, Doobie.
Now you finally have the power.
Why does the second you say something like straw man, the second you say something like pivot, the second you say something like ad hom, it paints like the most evilest picture of whatever the other person is doing. It disregards any reason that they're doing that at all. It acts like there are objective labels you can put on things to throw out arguments. Like, I fucking hate it. It's so awful. And you know, even Steven does it a lot. Even Steven fucking talks about how, like, you know, oh, well, your argument's invalid if it has like a logical whatever thing wrong with it. Like, no, not really, dude. Like, like the intention behind like a poor argument, I think, is just as important as like the poor argument itself, right? Because there's no referee, right? If PrimeCayes was a referee and you went, ref, he said that it's a straw man, ref. You got to get him the fuck out of here. You got to scratch it for the record. Like, if there was somebody that could do that and PrimeCayes was that person, maybe it would be okay, right? But that's not the way that it works out. So when you're doing things like calling these out, you're pulling the e-brake on a conversation, and you're pulling an e-brake that doesn't exist because it doesn't do anything for you, right? It just pisses people off. It's like if the e-brake was just an arm that went into the tire and you just fucked up like one tire by pulling the e-brake because there's no like brake there at all. Like, then don't pull it at all. If it's not going to do its job, then don't pull it. There's no point. Instead, what you should do is to like keep the momentum of the conversation moving or something. Or if you want to stop the momentum, there's a dozen other ways to do it than doing it that way. And it's just like, it's so overdone and boring. So I try to avoid that all the fucking time. And I don't know if people notice that or not. I try to avoid straw man. I try to avoid all these like philosophical terms because I just don't think they help at all. He usually explains why it's a bad argument. Yeah, he does. To his credit, he generally does. But I'm saying that like a lot of the times that that's used, it's used to like shut somebody else down. I don't really think it does that effectively.
Anyway, Drew, I think you wanted to say something previously. Did you?
So foolish.
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, if you don't want to hear about anecdotes, you could look at the data, and data out of Harvard suggests that even when you control for relevant factors, there's still a disparity in use of force for African American and Hispanic people. There's like a 50%.
Wait a minute. Is this Anna Frills? I can't see with my boomer eyes. It is Anna Frills. Okay, well, let's hope that doesn't get out of hand.
Increase in the likelihood of use of force. And like this is objective data that controls for.
Wait, I didn't know Anna was a political person. Why is she on this panel? Why is Anna on this panel? Actually, I'm never happy with this technical setup. Why is Anna here? She was invited, from my understanding. Oh, okay. Well,
So because people like you didn't report bad actors when they were beating the shit out of people because you personally felt like this person deserved to have the shit kicked out of them. There's a reporting issue. Well, it sounds like there's a counterpoints issue. It sounds like they're bad cops who fuck up the system.
Irrelevant. Character assassination.
Wow.
So that has nothing the data point you're looking for?
irrelevant character assassination. He's throwing his own yellow cards. I love thinking about these like philosophy terms or these debate terms as like you're throwing up little like yellow cards. You're like, Ref, that's a character assassination. Ref, he's that's a straw man. That's not what I said. Ref, like. I just don't think it helps.
Dude, it doesn't exist because if there's like a
Do you guys feel like that too, or is that like me being bad faith? I have no idea. It could be that I watch these all the time and I get like super cringed out about them, but that's one thing for me. I hate it. I hate hearing people say that shit all the time. It may just be a pet peeve. Invalid argument. He called me dumb.
if there's a valid claim, right? The police feel there's a valid claim, they're going to settle. So the kind of data that you're asking.
It's like a Yu-Gi-Oh trap card. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You just activated my trap card, you stupid fuck. I don't know. It's overused for sure.
Is reflected either in the few cases which you're going to say are anecdotes that actually go to trial, or the obvious cases that are settled out of court. And you know, I don't right now have on me the amount of settled claims, but then you're just going to say, well, those ones that are settled, most of those are frivolous. So nothing we can't present any evidence to you that would be convincing, because you're just going to either say the settled cases are frivolous, or the real cases that go to trial are just never. There are just like a couple of them. So I don't understand what evidence we could present to you that would convince you.
Okay. Well, present fucking something, right? Anecdotes are
Okay, hold the fuck up. I need to have a response.
And that's not a good response at all. Well, you got to present something. Brother, I just gave you 20 pieces of something and you done gone and rejected every single one. You seem like the pickiest eater at this fucking table, and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you want to eat. All right, you tell me, oh, whatever's fine, but then I serve you up a plate of mac and cheese and, you know, hash, and you're like, no, fuck this, brother, I don't eat no fucking cheese and hash. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? You can't go ahead and tell me you're going to take any kind of data I'm going to give you, and then you're going to reject everything I put in front of you. And then when I ask you, all right, well, then what are you feeling like eating? You can't just tell me, well, you know, whatever. If you just put food in front of me, I'll probably eat it. That's some bullshit, right? I think that's what he's trying to get at here. Yeah, you can point out that they're doing something bad at the same time as moving forward. And that's what I think. Like, the important thing is to keep the momentum moving forward. So I would say that, like, here, I'm going to move over here. I would say that if you're going to be doing this and you want to point that stuff out, you probably want to make sure that, like, you're not using your whole... Oh, man, we're back to fucking panel rhetoric. When you're in a panel... You get the microphone for only so much time, right? And with what little time you have on the mic, I don't think you should use that pointing out why other people's arguments are like faulty at a fundamental level simply by like calling them a name. Like, that seems like a waste of the time, because if we take that time, we could do like a dozen other interesting things with that, right? So if you really wanted to point it out, I would say you could point it out in passing and then try to focus on the main like crux of your argument, because the more time that you give to shittier arguments, the less time by definition you're spending on your own. So I just don't see that as like an effective strategy, because even if you're trying to market on these and you're trying to get viewers to come back to you, I think you want to put out what your beliefs are as well, and how your beliefs are better than the other person's. You don't just want to say your beliefs are bad, they don't work, your beliefs are like fundamentally flawed. Like, okay, and like what else am I meant to believe? You don't seem very reasonable if you're not accepting any studies or anything. I don't know.
Hey, Destiny / Steven is here. I want to
Okay. Before Destiny fucking kicks me or somebody else in this panel right in the fucking nutsack, I want to fucking clarify something, okay? The fucking
Is that North?
the thing that
North? You seem kind of worried. You were being a bit of an asshole earlier, like in the very beginning of this video. Granted, I didn't see the context leading up to it, but yeah, it wasn't a good look for you in your questioning of other people in the very beginning, so...
that we're talking about, one, it's not me.
He's spooked. He most certainly is.
Two, every single corrections fucking place has a goon squad because sometimes things are necessary. There's a guy who's high on acid. There's a guy who's high on methamphetamine, who's fighting out of his cups, who's beating the fuck out of himself and other fucking people. This is a real fucking thing that fucking happened. It's a real thing that happened to me. Not only that, there's fucking...
Wait, is that North? Am I being rude? Who is this? Oh, it's Counterpoints. Okay, my bad. I thought that was North the Mage. I thought that was North the Mage. Anybody know North the Mage? He kind of looks like him. Man, I can't see shit, dude. I am blind. And it's on 1080p. All right, whatever.
And basically, like, oh my fucking god. So sometimes there's a fucking dude who hawks a loogie in your fucking ear. There's a guy who's telling you that he's gonna kill you and kill your entire family. There's a guy who's fucking talking about how he's gonna get out of fucking jail and he's gonna slaughter your fucking wife and kids. So me personally, I just go, hey, fuck you, buddy. You can come and find me.
Yeah,
but there's other people who take that shit personal because this is humanity. No, you can go fuck yourself, dude. You can fuck yourself in the fucking world.
Okay,
I've been waiting to ask a question.
Yeah, we'll wait a little longer. All right, quickly respond, and then we're gonna let on your question.
You know what? I've changed my mind. Counterpoints just convinced me that because people like him exist in policing, there is a police brutality problem.
Yourself,
because you believe that you get to decide who deserves to get their ass kicked by the goon squad. Because you believe that, hey, this person, you let it happen. You just said you knew what's happening, and you let it happen because these people deserve it. That's what you said.
Spit on my ear.
Wait, hold on. Is he defending the idea that there's a squad that needs to take care of people that have like wronged cops? What is this argument? Wait, what have I walked into? What's going on? I'm so confused. Yes, don't tell me yes. There's no way he's arguing for that. What kind of argument is that? He goes back on it later. Wait, no, I don't care about later. Wait. What does this mean? What do you mean? He thinks there's a goon squad that should be able to beat the shit out of people when they spit on somebody? Not a good look, sweetie. Do I look bad for thinking that that's not something that should happen? What an interesting debate. He's defending the big scary cops that have to go clean up people on PCP or whatever. What does that mean, though? What do you mean clean up people? He says sometimes people should be beat up. Bruh? I was so confused by this convo. I think he's referring to a group of cops that are physically strong who manhandle people when they arrest them. But that he's never done it himself. Hey, I've never done it myself, all right? You take a look at me, you go, hey, you're not the kind of guy that could manhandle a fucking 150-pound man on PCP, but I'll tell you what. When you get a little meth addict woman, you get a little werewolf, a little, fucking she-monster, and she fucking spits on you and threatens your family and pulls your fucking hair out in clumps, you're gonna be happy when the fucking goon squad rolls up and fucking jumps on her and, pushes her fucking face into the ground and punches her a few times. Like, sometimes you need that shit. Is that what he's on about, bro? Hair looks cool? Thanks, dude. This is a spicy combo. It does seem like it's a spicy combo, bro. Not really. He says that there are cops who operate outside of the law but don't get reported. Well, that's equally bad. That's equally bad. Who is this guy? Fucking Gordon? Are you fucking Commissioner Gordon, bruh? You talking to Batman? What? What kind of takes are these, bro? You work at the fucking Arkham Asylum, bro? What are you talking about? This is
the fucking good topic we're supposed to look at. Yeah, I agree. There is a problem with police brutality. 100%.
Good. I'm happy I convinced you, you strawmanning piece of shit.
Great. This is going amazing. Well, once again, another PrimeCayes classic. All right, so Destiny.
Okay, so right now it seems like the argument is revolving around a lot of whether or not police brutality exists or to what level or degree it exists in. And it seems like one of the problems we're having is that we're disagreeing on whether or not there's good ways to report this. Because obviously if we see a bunch of cases are settled, one side doesn't want to believe that all of it was the police doing something wrong and another side wants to believe that, So can't we all just agree that like there should probably be more independent, like third party, like evaluation of these types of claims and then move on from this? Because I don't see how you guys...
Wow, look at that. He's being rhetorically sound. Look at him going for agreement. Is he trying to tickle Booksmart's fancy with this one? What a good way to open this up, dude. I'm gonna after the Demon Mama review, I gotta point out every time he does something good, otherwise DGG will think I'm biased. So DGG thinks I'm biased in the wrong fucking direction. Do they think I secretly hate Destiny?
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
And I don't think anybody on either side of this, like if you're on the side where you think that there's a lot of police brutality, then you should want third panels, like or third party panels, like going over this. And if you're on the side that thinks that there's not, then you should want the exact same, because then it would exonerate said cops. So it feels like that's like the prescription, and then you just move on. Otherwise, you're just like arguing over improvable or unverifiable information.
Can I bring up a point that
I love that. So he's saying, hey, look, here's what I see the core argument as being. If we all can agree on this, we can move past this point. And I think all of us should agree on it, because the people that think that this thing exists probably want it to prove that it exists and to fix it. And the people that think that it doesn't exist are going to find that if we do this, it'll prove that these things don't exist. If we put forth measures that are going to do this, and it turns out that there's not a problem, that thing would make that clear. So regardless of which side of the issue you're on, you should be okay with this panel thing that he's talking about here.
that was brought up by our mutual buddy Vosh that I think actually solves the fucking problem, and he doesn't even like his own point, so I have to bring it up. So in the military, there's something called the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It's basically a judicial system that's specifically designed around the military. There's military charges. There's things that specifically apply in war. Sometimes it's more strict and sometimes it's more lenient because military service is separate from civilian service. So if you had a uniform code of law enforcement...
I'm a hard DGGer and subreddit user, and the way they treated Book's arguments during the Demon Mama arc was cringe. Yeah, I've never felt bad reading the DGG subreddit until I read about the Demon Mama stuff, and I was like, damn, that's kind of sad. I did see Darth Bane and other people in there defending me, but I was like, I'm going to have to keep that in mind for next time I give him a negative review. I have to be more careful, I guess.
Enforcement justice that, for instance, had their separate jails, separate prosecution. You could do it at the, I think we talked about this with Pisco, and Pisco was talking about, basically like parochialism. You can't do this at the federal level. Everybody has to be responsible for their own shit. But even if
they wiped the sub of his Demon Mama stuff. What do you mean? And who is they? This is a big accusation, Rayfel.
Single state had a universal code of law enforcement justice under their respective state DOJ or whatever, and they basically investigated serious breaches of fucking law enforcement conduct. They actually punished cops with appropriate crimes. They stuck them in jails that were appropriate, where they wouldn't get fucking murdered or treated as child molesters by fellow inmates. This would go a long way to keeping a lot of parties honest.
I feel like the big problem you have though is we don't really want police officers to be seen as like independent from civilians, right? Like military enforcing law on civilians is a really kind of weird thing. When I say weird, it's that like you don't want to feel like there's a separate enforcement body that's detached from your civilian population, and I think that furthering the increasing that divide between what does it mean to be a police officer and what does it mean to be a civilian would probably leave a lot of people feeling like pretty wrong. Like it seems like this is a step in the wrong direction of like getting police like more community oriented and like coming from communities, is to further separate them, like a different system of justice, a different set of jails, a different set of rules from them.
Look at this little rhetorical bit here. So the use of community I find to be really interesting here. Let's listen back to this a little bit. He's trying to juxtapose the idea of this military body that would help with the enforcement of things to the community orientation of policing. If you want a police that's more community oriented, that serves their community, reflects their community, and is something that the community is comfortable with, you're taking a lot of steps away from that if you're trying to bring the military in as some like different body to handle like law enforcement with people.
And to live by, it feels like it would probably leave a lot of people feeling like pretty wrong. Like it seems like this is a step in the wrong direction of like getting police like more community oriented and like coming from communities, is to
like, because if you put that argument out there, which I presume would be something that the cop guy would say he's in support of, then he kind of has to reconcile the difference between what he's preaching for there and how what he's proposing here is going to kind of undermine that, right? So you're going to have to pick one or the other. And if you pick the other, Steven is then probably going to ask, like, well, then why would you still pick the military thing? It seems to go against that other principle. And it's fine if you want to go against that other principle, but that probably means that there's some other reason that you're bolstering that point. There's some other principle here that's leading to that. Now, this is a presumption that Steven makes about how people think that I think is like fundamentally flawed. I don't think people have principles like that. I think people have notions and feelings about ideas, and you have to map those out. I think pretending that people operate based on rule sets and that they'll be uncomfortable once you point out that their rules don't line up, I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's like indicative of reality, if I'm being honest, but
further separate them, like a different system of justice, a different set of jails, a different set of rules for them to live by. It feels like it would further that alienation.
Can I bring up 2 points that I think respond to your counterpoint? One of them real and one of them hypothetical.
Okay, that's me, so I might go for it.
All right, Prime, can I bring up 2 points? So
bring up those 2 points, then we have to go to Nick. He's been waiting very patiently. All right. So
sorry, Nick, I love you. So, so basically, like, so let me give you the real one. So the real one was I knew a law enforcement officer who basically they made up statistics. They literally called out traffic stops that they were never on. And the way that I found out about this was I went to the intersections in order to back them up because every traffic stop is a potentially dangerous situation, and they weren't there. And they called on the radio as if they were still there. The reason why I never reported this to anyone, the reason why I never reported it to a higher up or something like that, is because if I report that person, not only is their certificate on the line, so literally their career, not only is there could there potentially be criminal charges for misusing databases because she's literally misusing databases, so her security clearance could basically be revoked. But also there's potentially serious jail time. So something as minor as for doing something that is potentially minor, because that shit does trickle down. Okay. That person's fucking testimony is suspect to me. I don't trust that fucking person to fucking back me because if they lie about small shit, are they lying about big shit? And that worries the fuck out.
So to be clear, you allowed a corrupt police officer to remain on the force because you were concerned about the consequences.
Fuck you.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to take back what I said, because you know what I've learned? If I'm going to tell Steven that he can't assume that people are operating off of rules, I can't assume that people are trying to make good arguments. This other person that keeps jumping in here with their bullshit, who is it?
Because you were concerned about the consequences.
Fuck you.
Who is
because you were concerned about the consequences.
Fuck you.
Who is talking? Who is this that's fucking saying this baloney? The guy interrupting isn't on webcam. Oh, of course he's not. Why are there people that... Prime, for the love of God, dude, it's not a big ask to have people have the webcams, brother. It's so fucking stupid that you let people on without a webcam. That's the dumbest shit that I've fucking ever heard of, bruh. Holy shit. Doobie? Oh, of course, it's some asshole named Doobie interrupting Doobie who doesn't have a fucking webcam. Surprise, surprise. He's the dumb fuck that I want to see a picture of. All right, well, there you go. This Doobie person might just be trying to spin a narrative, and they're trying to paint this guy as just negative. And if they can paint him as negative, then that's another cop that, adds to stereotype in people's heads. Maybe that's what he's going for. If that's what he's going for, he's doing a hella fine job. Just keep doing that. Just keep talking over him. Every time he says something that's painting a negative picture, point that out. Sure, if that's what you're trying to do, that's all right. That's all right, actually, now that I think about it.
Chill out.
He do be stupid, yeah, I guess, bro.
Come on, I know what's going on. Chill out.
Are you okay? See, here's why I'll be very chill while I'm telling Doobie to pound sand. He literally keeps accusing me of basically being a corrupt piece of shit when I'm literally the nicest fucking.
What did you just say?
He's describing to you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Second point. Hypothetically.
Oh no! Wait. Oh.
And you let these guys talk.
No. I don't know how far we were.
As if they were still there. The reason why I never reported this to anyone, the reason why I never reported it to a higher up or something like that, is because if I report that person, not only is their certificate on the line, so literally their career, not only is there could there potentially be criminal charges for misusing databases because she's literally misusing databases, so her security clearance could basically be revoked. But also there's potentially serious jail time. So something as minor as lying in a small way because you're fucking lazy could literally destroy this person's life, which is why I didn't do it. So basically, I'm not there has to be a way where you can punish a cop for doing something that is
I don't want to cost him his job. Look at you guys. Hey, telling your coworker. Yeah, well, you tell me when you wake up in the morning and you know that you took somebody's job away from them. All right? No, that is what we want you to do. Yeah, we want those people to lose their job. This is a disconnect. No, I don't think they should keep being a cop if they're fucking up all the time, brother. I think maybe he's got that twisted with how other people think about shit. I don't think people are super duper kind to, the plight of an unemployed police officer who is unemployed because they lied on the job. I don't know. I don't know if people have a lot of sympathy for that shit.
Potentially minor, because that shit does trickle down. That person's fucking testimony is suspect to me. I don't trust that fucking person to fucking back me because if they lie about small shit, are they lying about big shit? And that worries the fuck out.
So to be clear,
Okay. Then why don't you make them lose their job? Why do you care to this extent? You're telling me that this person is costing you your safety, the safety of the community, your trust, the trust of the court, the trust of the justice system, but because they might lose their job and then they'll be in a tight financial spot, you don't want to get them in trouble? We forced people to get evicted from their homes because of COVID because we didn't want to cut checks to people or help out or do rent freeze stuff. We don't care in all sorts of other situations in this country for the plight of poor people. Why we all of a sudden care about the plight of an unemployed cop is beyond me. Maybe this is something the union told them. I have no fucking idea, but that seems crazy to me. Because this motherfucker is threatening your life. You're talking about how you may not even trust that person because they're lying in all these other regards. They could put your life at risk. And you're choosing to allow that person to show up at your side every single day and stay on the force. This doesn't make any goddamn sense.
You allowed a corrupt police officer to remain on
get
the force
fucked.
because you were concerned
He
about the
explains it
consequences.
later.
you.
I
I
think
think
so.
Chill out. Come on. I know what's going on. Chill out.
Are you okay? See, here's why I'll be very chill while I'm telling Doobie to pound sand. He
But
literally
he's not saying he's gonna get shit right now. He's saying that it's the other person who's gonna get shit and maybe lose their job. That's what he's saying. I don't think thus far he said that he's worried about his own shit. He's worried about the other person. If anything, if he made the argument he's worried about his own shit, I'd be way more sympathetic to that than I would the idea that you're worried about the job of the person who's fucking up all the time. Like if I saw a busboy at a restaurant, because I've worked at a restaurant, so this is all I can give. If I saw a busboy at a restaurant not properly like sanitizing the tables and shit, I would probably sneak like a little thing to my manager about like, hey, FYI, like, you know, so-and-so is not like cleaning any of these tables and somebody's gonna get fucking sick. Like, I think you have to say shit when you see something that's gonna affect like your customers, your clientele, or whatever. Booksmarts, are you a snitch? Yeah, if you fuck over the customers. We're only here for the customers, you dumb fucks. Huh.
keeps accusing me of basically being a corrupt piece of shit when I'm literally the nicest fucking.
What
guy
did you just say?
law enforcement.
He's describing to you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Second point. Hypothetically.
Then we go to Nick. Go ahead.
Okay, hypothetically, and then I'll shut the fuck up. So, hypothetically, let's say that I saw a cop who was committing larceny, literally stealing a candy bar because they knew that the shop owner wouldn't say shit and that basically they intimidated other fucking people. I want the ability as a law enforcement officer to report that to a third-party entity. Because if I report that to my chain of command, and here you go, Doobie, this is why you can go fuck yourself with a broom. So, if I report on her, it's going to get reported to my chain of command. My chain of command is going to shit on me for making noise instead of shitting on her.
Oh, there you go. It's almost like this wasn't a strong argument from his perspective, since it seems very self-centered, so he avoided it initially. But here we go. Here's the actual reasoning, which, in my opinion, is more reasonable, but, you know, to each their own.
Her for breaking the law or lying about shit. Number 3, if I get into some serious shit because I'm not some internet meme lord fucking dipshit, if I get into some shit where I'm actually in a fucking fight and I'm fighting for my fucking life, I am reliant on everybody in my shift to come save me. All she has to do is take her fucking pedal off of the accelerator in her car and let me either get hurt or killed. So Doobie, you can go fuck yourself with a broom, and I'm done.
I want to roll things back a little bit to something Doobie said, which just made my brain bleed a little bit, and I've been waiting this whole time. He said some shit about the data being, we should base the data on reports of brutality that actually go on and get like actioned on. It's like, dude, would you ask somebody, like, as a really extreme example, would you ask somebody in the Nazi high command, like, to tell you what they've been doing and expect the truth? Like, when a body is in charge of what actually goes through,
We got a Destiny
the idea of
level
using
analogy.
their word as like your truth is so fucking stupid to me. I can't believe you would actually think that we should base this on like what complaints actually get actioned upon, when like we have definitive proof that like a lot of these complaints get fucking killed in the water because the police are the ones in control of the complaints against themselves.
Or they settle. And that's precisely what just Destiny said, which is nothing we could provide to Doobie would convince him, because he's convinced that any settlement has to be a frivolous suit, when potentially the argument for intuition is the other way around, that the stronger cases are the ones that are settled. And so they never have this full dissection of all the facts and what happened, such that it would satisfy Doobie that, you know, they were genuine cases.
Bullshit. That's total bullshit. What I'm saying is that it's
Play-Doh?
absolutely, I think.
Wait, did my food really look that bad? It was an omelet I made this morning. Not Play-Doh. Fuck you guys. You guys think I'm the fucking Teletubbies over here eating Play-Doh and paint. That's always your guys' guess as to what I'm eating. Is that Play-Doh? Is that paint? Is that curry? No, bro.
Brain dead
Because
to
it's so
assume that a
bad at
problem exists
guessing.
if we have no data to suggest it exists, right? So I agree with
nothing will convince you it exists.
That's not true.
So like, wait,
Provide me something.
So something like, just really quick in terms of how state budgets work here, right? When the state has a budget, they have to actually get all of the money that they spend on that budget in tax dollars. States can't run infinite deficits like the federal government does.
You know what's kind of pins and needles for me? I don't know if this is let's make it a little sexual. I get pins and needles when everybody shuts the fuck up, dude. I love it. I love that when he starts talking, all these dumb fucks be quiet. Like,
When the state has a budget, like, just really.
That's not true.
So like, wait,
Provide me something.
So something like, just really quick in terms of how state budgets work here, right? When the state has a.
oh, I love it. I love when everybody shuts the fuck up. I love this shit. And they do it for him because they respect him or whatever, because he's a big streamer. But it's funny to see everybody just like be
budget,
quiet.
they have to actually get all of the money that they spend on that budget in tax dollars.
They're
States can't
betas.
run infinite
Yeah,
deficits
maybe.
like the federal government does. Their budget is a lot different. So
I need to address this too. So body cams were universally fucking reviled by law enforcement when they were first coming out, because they were first coming out in 2015. 2015 and 2016. And the reason why they were reviled was because we thought they were going to catch us picking our noses, cussing, being rude to people, and all that kind of shit. You know what ended up happening? Civil complaints from basically like the citizenry dropped by like 90% because basically we could substantiate our social interactions. And on top of that, we are better behaved because we're on camera. So I won't tell random citizens to fuck themselves with a broom like I did with you 5 minutes ago. And two, basically like the civilians are better acting as well because they know they're on.
Why is it that for some reason I feel like he has actually said those actual words in that actual order to an actual person while he's been in his uniform? Why do I think that? He's inspired no confidence in his policing abilities through what little I've seen of this interaction here. I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that this is yet another anecdote from our man, although he may not admit it.
On body camera. So if they're being obnoxious, talking shit, spitting in your face, and basically telling you that they're going to kill your entire family, they know that when they get their shit stomped in, there's not going to be very much sympathy for them. So not like these third-party accountability things, a lot of people push against them instinctively, but they're really fucking good for society, like really good. And if you were talking about building trust between society, Doobie, I actually agree with you that we're highlighting all the negatives and we're bringing them to the fore in a way that actually doesn't match up with society. But at the same time, if you want to build civic trust, you have to fucking earn it. And you earn it through transparency, accountability. You earn it by basically being the moral and principled fucking person that people think you are. So, okay.
Yeah, well, where is all this moral principle fucking whatever when you're not reporting people that are Where is all this when you're talking about hiring a goon squad to beat the shit out of people on drugs? What the fuck? What are you talking about? You guys want to know what happens in Asia if you walk into a fucking market and you have a knife and you start stabbing people? I mean, maybe it depends on the Asian country, but they'll come out with these big-ass sticks, all right? Here's my anecdote, dude. Here's my anecdote, okay?
And it feels like I have a much better chance of making that work
they'll
by
come out with
shutting
these
up
big-ass
than by
sticks, okay? And the stick has like a loop at the end. And what you do is, if enough people have the sticks, you can fuck up somebody, okay? So if somebody's like, fuck you, I will fucking stab you, motherfucker. I'm going to stab you, okay? And they're like threatening everybody. What you can do is you can have the stick. And if you just get them anywhere on their body and enough of you are there, you can just hold the motherfucker down and wait. So, like, what is that accent? I don't know, dude. Who cares? Why is the Asian guy French? Why are you guys asking so many questions that are unrelated to the story? Oh my God. Okay. So he says, whatever. And then like everybody can take care. You don't need to beat the shit out of somebody who's flipping out on drugs. I think there's other ways of handling that. I don't know why we think you have to beat them up and stuff. But anywho, I really think, I really don't see how that's meshing with what he's saying here. That doesn't seem to be very consistent.
Can I respond? Pretty please.
Well, are you going to call me a piece of shit again, or are you going to respond to a point?
That accent, Mino Reiki? I didn't do an Asian accent, bruh. I didn't know Jar Jar was a police officer. It wasn't a Jar Jar.
Well, I don't think I was calling you a piece of shit.
Yeah,
I was calling you a bad cop, bad apple, and very corrupt. Yeah.
And you can fuck yourself with
that's
the room.
okay.
There are people who think that we're an authoritarian fascist fucking nightmare. And it's not because they're dumb or they're astroturfed or they've been manipulated by fucking George Soros in order to fucking think that we need to destroy America. It's because
where is that coming from? Why are you saying things like this? You look so crazy. Why? Oh, why are you doing this? You're not helping yourself.
Because they have reason to. Because they had cops who were fucking rude to them. They did get pulled over while walking while black. They did get pulled over because they looked like a fucking hit.
There are reasonable parts. It's all set up reasonably, but he has these weird things in here, and then they don't line up with what he's arguing at all. Because he says that, and then somebody's like, oh, hey, maybe you should, report the goon people that beat people up. And then he's like, you're a dumb fuck. Go fuck yourself with a fucking broomstick, you stupid fucking civilian. You don't understand the fucking plights of the fucking police officer. So you can go ahead and take your opinion and shove it up your fucking ass. Like, that's what he, like, it just doesn't line up with when he's saying stuff like this. And if anything, it makes him seem disingenuous as fuck. Because he understands what their perspective is, as he makes clear in a point like this, but then he immediately flip-flops back to this fucked up perspective that is completely disanalogous to what he's talking about here. Like, that's what's confusing to me as a viewer. I don't know if that's confusing to you guys. That's why I'm having a problem with this. Not that in isolation this isn't a point that these guys would support. It obviously is. It's their points that he's saying back to them. But then he goes off in a way different direction as if he didn't synthesize that at all, or like test his worldview with those principles at all. So that's why I don't think it helps him. You have to move on the other things. This isn't helping you because the arguments you put forward and the way you respond to people is still like super negative. I don't know.
There's your evidence.
And it's funny how far you've walked back now, Doobie. You started this conversation saying, for sure, it's not a problem. And now you're at the point, well, let's gather the data before we implement policy. Don't you see that as a change in position?
No, I don't, like I said earlier,
it's not a problem.
I don't think.
When I
say it's not a problem, I mean that it's not as widespread as you people are making out.
How do you know? How could you possibly know that?
I've never seen anything to substantiate that claim. Right? If that is a problem, of course I want to do something about it. I don't like that there are people like there are good cops who are allowing their friends to get away with bad behavior.
Real quick, just a thought experiment on that kind of claim.
Yeah, go ahead and interrupt Doobie. Calling out people for walking back their position seems like a poor tactic if you're trying to get someone to change positions. Is it though? It depends on what you're trying to do, right? So I would agree with that. Yeah. So generally speaking, if you're trying to make them to get progress towards you, pointing out the progress isn't going to help you because that could very easily scare them into running back. But when you have a dumb fuck like this, I could point that out in a much friendlier way. Like, well, I'm happy that we're starting to make some progress on this conversation. I'm starting to see where you're coming from on this, Doobie, and I'm happy that you're at least, seeing where the cops are coming from on some of these things. And it's nice to see like both sides of this kind of changing the way that we're talking about this, changing the terms that we're using, and maybe even coming closer together on like a solution about it. Now, that's the way you could do that if that's the rhetorical point of what you're doing. But if the rhetorical point of what you're doing is to bait him into denying that progress, that's what I think he's trying to do, and that's what Doobie walks into. So he puts forward that, it sounds like you're changing your position on this, Doobie, which I appreciate. And then Doobie goes, no, wrong. I didn't change my position. I've had the right position for a long time. I've talked to a lot of very smart people, all right? And you cops are the worst of the worst, the scum and crime and villainy. Like, I don't know. I think that helps him. I think it makes Doobie look like a dumb fuck when you point out that he's moving a little bit and then he's super resistant to the idea he's moved at all. I don't know. I mean, it could work out one of two ways. I would agree that you should maybe not point it out because it can do nothing but hurt you. But if your point is more so to like highlight that Doobie is being unreasonable throughout this conversation, that might be helpful to you. I don't know. Yeah, we're both, to be fair to you in the chat, we're both kind of assuming his intention. I'm just trying to say that, like, yeah, depending on what his intention is, that could work out very differently for him. So if his intention was to make the dude look like he's, being unreasonable, I think he accomplished that with that. But yeah, if we're trying to move him towards agreement and that's our ultimate overarching goal, then no, I don't think that's a very smart move to make. This doesn't work, by the way. FYI. This shit, I don't know. I don't know about this shit. I don't like this shit. Prime it might call on him at some point, but the reality of panels is you wanna jump in. And if you want to keep doing panels, my advice to new streamers is to not get in the habit of doing this and to instead get in the habit of jumping in. Because let's think about this, okay? Let's say that you're ultimately going to spend 50 hours on panels. I think the person who spends 50 hours on panels practicing when they can jump in, what are good opportunities for jumping in, what can they say that's impactful, how can they get that microphone and hold on to it for as long as possible, I think you get a lot more out of practicing jumping in than you do relying on raising your hand or some bullshit. And that's setting aside the rhetorical cost of this. I don't think that this looks very good for you, really. And by definition, because you're relying on the moderator to let you in, and as we've discussed a million times about panels, moderators don't really work like that in this panel scene. You're really limiting your opportunities to jump in if you're hinging all of that on whether or not Prime interrupts the flow of the entire conversation just to let you in. So there's 101 reasons not to do this, and I would say for anybody who's new to streaming or wants to do panels, probably don't do this because you're going to get a lot more experience out of trying to jump in, and you're probably going to get more opportunities to speak and be better in the long run for it, if I'm being honest. Oh shit, that hair. Yeah, I have crazy hair. I find his setup disorienting. He looks like a disembodied head and hand floating in a void. Well, I don't know, dude.
Which was that police brutality is definitely not a problem, which is what he said.
The virgin
so
hand raise versus the Chad jumping in,
yeah, no, I don't think it's as widespread a problem as you guys are making.
Wait, how could you know that, Doobie?
Well, again, I've never seen anything to substantiate.
Yeah, so have you ever seen any proof that like North Korea mistreats like any of its citizens, like actual definitive proof?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen like we have satellite pictures of the Kims. We have survivor stories. We have what they did to what's that kid's name?
Okay, so like
Anecdotes.
So, yes, wait, no, less anecdotes, but more like every single thing you're going to bring up. I can give you a parallel in the United States. You're talking about satellite images. Well, we've got YouTube videos. You're talking about survivor stories. We've got people that have been freed from prison after cops have fake evidence. Like for every evidence you're going to give of this happening in North Korea, absent the official reporting.
You're so fucking mean. I like the hair. It distracts from the gap in your teeth. Fuck you. Bro, I'm gonna wear a goddamn hijab. You're fucking, you're turning me, dude. You're turning me. All right, let me. All right, well, now we won't be distracting at all, brother. We won't be distracting at all. All right, how about this? This is pretty good. Much better, yeah. I gotta hide all my hair, otherwise the gods will not be happy with me. There we are. You know what I look like? Has anybody seen Princess Mononoke? I look like the leper people that make the guns, that are all wrapped up and they're all diseased and all crippled out and whatever. That's what I look like, dude. I look like the leper people. I have a gap in my teeth and my hair doesn't look good, so I'm wearing this outfit.
Can have a parallel to an American story as well.
Well, no, not necessarily.
This is cultural appropriation. Yeah, it's a Middle Eastern style with a Mexican blanket on a Costa Rican dude. There's a lot of cultural appropriation going on
Because
here.
when we do have YouTube videos of like blatant like police misconduct, typically these hit the media. These are taken to court. And
I also stole the hillbillies' fucked up buck teeth. I'm misappropriating all sorts of styles out here, bro.
officers are charged.
Not always.
Not always, but if they're not charged, right, it doesn't mean that they.
Probably people say, but we don't know that. We can't possibly make that claim. We just don't have the evidence available.
Or a claim about sort of more specifically that it's not as widespread as people think. How could you possibly know that more sort of narrow claim than the claim about?
Yeah, like look at how good this guy in the bottom left corner is at jumping in. Like he's very, very good at knowing when he should jump in and what he should be doing, and he's using the progress that Destiny is making in the one-on-one with this person to bolster his own points. Very, very smart. I'm gonna give some points to this guy. So far in the debate, I'd say we have massive respect for Destiny here. We're getting some extra points for this guy here. Nobody else is really talking, and Doobie doesn't have a webcam though, so I don't know. I want to see our Twinkie baby here do more, but he's just I don't know. He's not saying anything.
About it existing at all.
It could be way more widespread. It could be less widespread. Sorry.
I'm willing to meet in the middle, right? I'll say that, hey, I can't say for sure. I'm agnostic on whether.
Bottom left guy is Pisco. Pisco, he's a really fucking annoying chatter. I hate him as a chatter, bruh. He's one of the worst chatters I've ever fucking seen. I hate him as a chatter, but he's doing a good job in the panel. That should show you that I'm keeping my bias in check, dude. I hate him as a chatter, but he's doing a good job in the panel so far from what I've seen.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you guys did.
Okay, I think guys already said everybody agrees then that we can't really know, but we should put a third-party body in so that we can know. That'd be a good thing to do. I think everybody can agree with that, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
At the minimum, sure, yeah.
All right, I want to jump in and use an example that I want.
Yay! Good job. Good job. Just for that, I'm gonna take off my hijab. Good job. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you, buddy. Let's give a round of applause to Destiny here for finding some agreement between all these people. Wonderful job, buddy. Wonderful job. Well done rhetorically. There you go, DGG. You wanted some fucking suck off whatever. There you go. There's your suck off whatever. He did a very good job here.
I'll try to make this brief, and I'll try to take the personal attacks to a minimum. So,
what were your Dark Triad scores again? Sorry.
yeah. So here's the thing. There's a computer information system in the state of Florida. It's called Data.
Hey, she got her thing in. Good Good job, Anna. You really brought that back around to the stuff that you know stuff about. Good job, Anna. Anna's gonna get some rhetorical points in here as well. I'm gonna give some points to Miss Frills here. You get some points for that. You know, if you're only gonna talk a little bit, at least have it be about your brand. That's on brand for her, so she gets points.
But I don't see any reason. Does anyone have a policy that they wouldn't want Biden to enact under his purported executive powers? Those who are against his usage of those powers.
And when we talk about this, just to clarify this conversation, we should be talking about the idea of him using the executive order, not the individual policies themselves.
Man, look at fucking Big Dick Benelli over here. Look at that. So And he is keeping very, very close control of the framing of this next topic, at least from what we've seen thus far. This jumping in here and trying to clarify is something that I think more panelists need to feel comfortable doing. And that's, again, why I encourage people like this dude to not raise their hand and to just jump in, because opportunities like this in terms of like maintaining control of like the framing of the conversation is super important when there's like a gazillion people in the call with you. Because the other thing is, if Steven says this and then somebody goes off track, Steven or anybody else in the conversation can point out how we're straying away from what we agreed upon at this moment, and that can be super powerful. So this is real good. That's
so
good.
like the conversation should